Hey guys, welcome to my 7th Inkscape tutorial, and I'm going to go over 3D shapes. And again, or I guess not again, I've had to do this video a couple times due to technical difficulties, but I said in those before. I apologize for the length of my videos. I'm going to try to make them shorter. Now, I don't want to just show you how to do something. I want to show you how you can do things yourself. So I can't exactly do that in 5 minutes, but I would like to keep them at least 10 minutes. I know I've got a little outrageous, especially if you're using my HTML tutorials. I'm probably going to have to redo those just because of the amount of time I've used. So I'm going to try to make it a little quicker, give you the same amount of information, just kind of compress it a little bit, maybe not blabber as much like I'm doing now. So let's go ahead and get started. To make a 3D shape, there's a couple of ways. There's a couple of ways you can do it. Adobe Illustrator, and that's one thing that sets Inkscape and Adobe Illustrator apart, as far as I know. And if somebody knows a way to actually do this on Inkscape, let me know, please, because it's an awesome option. Adobe Illustrator has mesh screens, so you can make an option, let's say like this, and then you can use the mesh option, and it'll put a grid on here. Now you can change each parts of the grid to whatever color you want it to. And you can use gradients to make it. Basically, like, you can turn this into make it look like a face or something, an actual 3D face, just using this mesh screen. We don't have that option in Inkscape, but there's a couple of things I will show you, and I'll probably do that in the next tutorial. I don't know if you'd say it was harder, but it's different than using Adobe Illustrator. It involves a lot of gradients and yeah. But I'm going to show you how to make some basic 3D shapes real quick, and then we'll take it from there. So I just chose my gradient tool, and I have a circle, and you can do this with any shape, but it really works best with a circle. And I'll show you how to make a 3D, like a cube or something, here in a little while, here in a second. But for right now, let's do this. And you can hold Control to make a straight line, straight down, up and down, as opposed to giving it an angle. When you do this, when you use a lot of tools, Control allows you to control the tool a lot better. And what I'm going to do right now is I've made a gradient from a little bit above the top to a little bit above the bottom, and I'm going to add another point in the middle. Now you don't have to add this point, but it just adds a little bit more to it. And then if you notice down here, and I want to do something on colors too, I'm going to do a video on colors. So for right now, I'm not going to get too much into it. But if you notice, there's a lot of colors you can choose from. So, just like pick your favorite color real quick. I'm going to go with green. And for the bottom part or for the top part, whatever floats your fancy, just pick the darkest color on your little swatch. And then in the middle, do like a middle color. And I think you can sense a pattern right now. Okay, now you see what happened so far, and that's because this is actually black. It's not true black, but it's close to it, and so it gave it dark on both sides. And still, it does give it some dimension, but we're going for like a ball, so we're gonna go with a lighter green than that. Okay, now you see what happened, and also you see how there's a stroke. You want to take that off. Because with 3D objects, you can barely see it, but you can tell how it kind of interferes with the actual trying to convey that it's a 3D object, because it's a stroke. And you can do gradients on strokes, but I mean, when you're doing something like this, you might as well just not use a stroke at all. So to do that, this X right here will take the color out. It doesn't change it to any color; it just removes the color. And if you hold Shift, as always when dealing with colors, and click on it, it'll change the stroke, not the main color or the fill. So let's hold Shift and then click on the X, and okay, now you see how it kind of did that, and it is a little different, but it kind of looks like there's some light shining up here, and it looks like there's shadow down here, and you can even go even further to try to, because this isn't a true 3D object, we're trying to make it look 3D, and this is good for shadowing. What I always do when I'm making a shadow is I use the same object, copy and paste it, kind of flatten it out, add some black, and then you can use gray or white or anything, but let's say you're using this over something else, like there's a background involved. Well, you kind of want it to give the color of the background mixed with the shadow, and to do that, it's easier just to use like plain black and give it some opacity. That might be a little bit too much opacity, and make it a little thinner. And I'll even go so far as to add a filter. As soon as I find which one, diffuse light. Well, that kind of worked. That wasn't the one I normally use, I don't think, but it's okay. And drop it behind, obviously. Okay, so there you go. That kind of adds a little bit of like a, well, and it depends on where you position it. See, now it looks like it's floating. You see? And if you add a background, we'll go red with it, and turn the opacity off. Drop it to the back. Okay, now you see how it kind of adopted that? One thing that I guess I did wrong was the color changed whenever I took the stroke out. So I'm gonna fix that real quick just to show you. And okay, so there you go. That is something of a 3D object. This another one, and this is more of a, I guess you could say it's a true 3D, but this isn't a 3D program. So it's not, I don't know, it's not technically a true 3D object. But you've got this create 3D boxes option. Shift F4 will get you the tool, but also, I mean, with these tools I'll just click on because it's, I don't know, it's whatever you prefer. But it's between your square and your circle. It's a 3D box tool. So go ahead and click on that. Now, this requires, I mean, see, if it'll get weird on you if you don't, I don't know. It's a little bit hard to control at first, so you just kind of want to play with it. But you see how it did that, made a 3D box, and I know it comes out blue at first, and I'll show you how to change that here in a minute. But first, we want to position it the way we want. So you want to stay with your 3D thing. This right here, what it does is changes the perspective of the 3D box. You see that? So like the way it's looking right here, it kind of looks like, I know that it's shaped a little bit weird. It's because I probably dragged it out a little weird. But it looks like we're looking at it from the side. Now this looks like we're maybe going around it. So this is like a video, you know, it looks like maybe we were in a helicopter. Granted, I can't like swing it in front of me. It goes behind the object itself. And that's fixable too, but that's just something where you're going to want to play with it. As it kind of goes down into a pyramid, you see. And a lot of that has to do with perspective. And again, there's another thing that changes perspective. Let's see if we can't drag this up. No, it doesn't work. And that changes the size, but you notice how it changes it in proportion. The back side of it is changing with the front side of it, but it's changing proportionately. So yeah. Okay. Now, and there are ways to make cubes like that. I believe that is a cube. But yeah, we'll go ahead and keep it to that, because if anything, it looks like a cube. It might be a little different, but okay. So now we've got this box. Let's go ahead and make it a little bigger. And we want to use this for, I don't know, let's use it for a wall. Okay. What we can do after we've decided how we want to look at how we want our 3D box to look is you use Control Shift G, because this is actually just a group of shapes that are they're put together, and then they're transformable using the 3D box tool to where they look like they're 3D, but they're actually just shapes grouped together. So we can hit Control Shift G and ungroup it, and there you go. Now if you notice, see that? It's kind of like taking the face off of it, and all these are still back there even though you can't see them. But to change, like to make it look the way you want, and you don't have to use filters. I'm going to, because there's one I actually wanted to look at here. First, I'm going to change the color to brown. Yeah, let's do brown, and then filters. Well, I don't want to spend all day looking at this, but there's one for like wood I was actually looking for. Yeah, so tell you what, let's just go ahead and skip that. I shouldn't be playing with filters right now, right? I'm trying to show you guys something. So to make it look 3D, or to continue looking a little 3D, give it some shading. And if you notice before I changed the color, this was a light blue, this is a darker blue, maybe more of like a light purple, I don't know. And that's to represent light hitting that area, whereas light or shadow being on this area. So all you have to do is, and with these colors, it's awesome because you have that option of like, okay, I need a yellow, and then I need a dark yellow. And so that's really all you do. You just ungroup them, and then you pick the face of it, make it orange or whatever, and then you can pick the shadow, you make it a darker orange, and it kind of gives it like the sun shining over here but not over here type thing. And I've actually done whole like city scenes using the 3D box, and it's not heavy on your computer's RAM like filters are, because again it's just different. It's just shapes put together, and you can change them, you can color them and everything. You can add over them. So yeah, that is 3D boxes or 3D pictures. Maybe one more thing. There's ways, and I can't come up with an example off the top of my head, but you can use the Bezier curves and straight lines tool to shape out a 3D object, and then again, it would just boil down to the gradients you use to make it look the way you want, or filters, which as you saw, I guess, and I'm not an expert. Obviously, I'm sure you guys have noticed that by now. A lot of the stuff I showed you, I didn't even know. I just found it and I figured out what it was and showed you. If you just play with things, you'll figure it out. But it just takes, you gotta want to learn it. Otherwise, you're just wasting your own time. Yeah, you could probably find a bunch of ways, different ways to make 3D shapes. But these are the ones that I know. And this is nothing. I was playing while I was talking to you. Okay, so I'm actually going to end the video here, and in the next video, I think I will go over nodes. So yeah, see you then.